Welcome to Nalanda International Independent PU College. I'm Dr. Geeta CJ, giving you the presentation in Business Studies. Today, the topic what we are going to see is limitations of planning. Students, we have seen how planning is essential for business organizations. It is difficult to manage operations without formal planning. It is important for an organization to move towards achieving goals. But we have often seen in our daily lives also that things do not always go according to plan. Unforeseen events and changes, rise in costs and prices, environmental changes, government interventions, legal regulations all affect our business plans. Plans then need to be modified. If we cannot adhere to our plans, then why do we plan at all? This is what we need to analyze. So, the major limitations of planning. Here, the first one is planning leads to rigidity. Planning may not work in a dynamic environment. Planning reduces creativity. Planning involves huge cost. Planning is a time consuming process. Planning does not guarantee success. So, the first limitation of planning is planning leads to rigidity. In an organization, a well defined plan is drawn up with specific goals to be achieved within a specific time frame. These plans then decide the future course of action, and managers may not be in a position to change it. This kind of rigidity in plans may create difficulty. Managers need to be given some flexibility to be able to cope with the changed circumstances. Following pre-decided plan when circumstances have changed may not turn out to be the organization's interest. The second limitations of planning is planning may not work in a dynamic environment. So, here the planning may not work in a dynamic environment. This is the environment consists of a number of dimensions economic, political, physical, legal, and social dimensions. The organization has to constantly adapt itself to changes. It becomes difficult to accurately assess future trends in the environment if economic policies are modified or political conditions in the country are not stable or there is a natural calamity. Competition in the market can also upset financial plans. Sales targets may have to be revised, and accordingly, cash budgets also need to be modified since they are based on sales figures. Planning cannot foresee everything, and thus there may be obstacles to effective planning. So, we can say that planning may not work in the dynamic environment. The next limitation of planning is planning reduces creativity. Planning is an activity which is done by the top management. Usually, the rest of members just implements these plans. As a consequence, middle management and other decision makers are neither allowed to deviate from plans nor they are permitted to act on their own. Thus, much of the initiative or creativity inherent in them also gets lost or reduced. Most of the time, employees do not even attempt to formulate plans. They only carry out orders. Thus, planning in a way reduces creativity since people tend to think along the same lines as others. There is nothing new or innovative. So, planning reduces the creativity. The next limitation of planning is planning involves huge cost. When plans are drawn up, huge costs are involved in their formulation. These may be in terms of time and money. For example, checking accuracy of facts may involve lot of time. Detailed plans require scientific calculations to ascertain facts and figures. The cost incurred sometimes may not justify the benefits derived from the plans. There are a number of incidental costs as well, like expenses on boardroom meetings, discussions with professional experts, and preliminary investigations to find out the viability of the plan. Planning is a costly process. Collection and analysis of information, determination and evaluation of best course of action involve huge cost. But sometimes the cost incurred on planning may exceed its benefits. So we can say that planning involves huge cost. The next limitation of planning is time consuming process. Planning process is a time consuming process because it takes long time to evaluate the alternatives and select the best one. Lot of time is needed to develop planning premises. Whenever there is need for prompt and immediate decision, then we have to avoid planning. Planning is not practicable during emergencies and crises when quick decisions are necessary. Sometimes plans to be drawn up take so much of time that there is not much time left for their implementation. The next limitation of planning does not guarantee success. The success of an enterprise is possible only when plans are properly drawn up and implemented. Any plan needs to be translated into action or it becomes meaningless. Managers have a tendency to rely on previously tried and tested successful plans. It is not always true that just because a plan has worked before, it will work again. Besides, there are so many other unknown factors to be considered. This kind of complacency and false sense of security may actually lead to failure instead of success. However, despite its limitations, planning is not a useless exercise, it is a tool to be used with caution. It provides a base for analyzing future course of action, but it is not a solution to all problems. So, we have seen the limitations of planning. Now, let us see the planning process. Students, planning, as we all know, is deciding in advance what to do and how to do. It is a process of decision making. How do we go about making a plan? Since planning is an activity, there are certain logical steps for every manager to follow. That is, setting objectives, developing premises, listing the various alternatives for achieving the objectives, evaluating alternative courses of action, selecting an alternative, implementing the plan, and follow up. These are the seven planning process. Let us discuss. So, the first step in planning process is setting objectives. The first and foremost step is setting objectives. Every organization must have certain objectives. Objectives may be set for the entire organization and each department or unit within the organization. Objectives or goals specify what the organization wants to achieve. It could mean an increase in sales by 20%, which could be objective of all entire organization. How all departments would contribute to the organizational goals is a plan that is to be drawn up. Objectives should be stated clearly for all departments, units, and employees. They give direction to all departments. Departments or unit then need to set their own objectives within the broad framework of the organization's philosophy. Objectives have to percolate down to each unit and employees at all levels. At the same time, managers must contribute ideas and participate in the objective setting process. They must also understand how their actions contribute to achieving objectives. If the end result is clear, it becomes easier to work towards the goal. So we say that first process is setting up of objectives. The second planning process is developing premises. Planning is concerned with a future which is uncertain, and every planner is using conjecture about what might happen in future. Therefore, the manager is required to make certain assumptions about the future. These assumptions are called premises. Assumptions are the base material upon which plans are to be drawn. The base material may be in the form of forecast, existing plans, or any past information about policies. The premises or assumptions must be the same for all, and there should be total agreement on them. All managers involved in planning should be familiar with and use the same assumptions. For example, forecasting is important in developing premises as it is a technique for gathering information. Forecasts can be made about the demand for a particular product, policy change, interest rates, prices of capital goods, tax rates, etc. Accurate forecast therefore becomes essential for successful plans. The next third planning process is listing the various alternatives for achieving the objectives. So, once objectives are set, assumptions are made, then the next step would be to act upon them. There may be many ways to act and achieve objectives. All the alternative courses of action should be identified. The course of action which may be taken could be either routine or innovative. An innovative course may be adopted by involving more people and sharing their ideas. If the project is important, then more alternatives should be generated and thoroughly discussed among the members of the organization. The next planning process is evaluating alternative courses of action. The next step is to weigh the pros and cons of each alternative. Each course will have many variables which have to be weighed against each other. The positive and negative aspects of each proposal need to be evaluated in the light of the objective to be achieved. In financial plans, for example, the risk return trade off is very common. The more risky the investment, the higher the returns it is likely to give. To evaluate such proposals, detailed calculations of earnings per share, interest, taxes, dividends are made and decisions taken. Accurate forecasts in conditions of certain or uncertainty then become vital assumptions for these proposals. Alternatives are evaluated in the light of the feasibility and consequences. The next step of planning process is selecting an alternative. This is a real point of decision making. The best plan has to be adopted and implemented. The ideal plan, of course, would be the most feasible, profitable, and with the least negative consequences. Most plans may not always be subjected to be a mathematical analysis. In such cases, subjectivity and the manager's experience, judgment, and at times intuitions play an important part in selecting the most viable alternative. Sometimes a combination of plans may be selected instead of one best course. The manager will have to apply permutations and combinations and select the best possible course of action. The next planning process is implementing the plan. This is a step where other managerial functions also come into the picture. The step is concerned with putting the plan into action, that is, doing what is required. For example, if there is a plan to increase production, then more labor, more machinery will be required. This step would also involve organizing for labor and purchase of machinery. The next step in planning process is follow up. Planning is a continuous process, so a manager's job does not got over simply putting the plan into action. To see whether plans are being implemented and activities are performed according to schedule is also part of the planning process. During follow up, many adjustments are made in the plan. Monitoring the plans is equally important to ensure that objectives are achieved. To see whether plans are being implemented and activities are performed as the plans adopted is also a part of planning process. So, we have seen the different steps in planning process. That is, first step is setting objectives. Second step is developing premises. Third step in planning process is identification of alternative course of action. Fourth step is evaluating the alternative courses. And the fifth step is selecting an alternative. Then the sixth step is implementing the plan. And the last and seventh step is follow up action. So these are the steps in planning process. So planning process, as we have discussed, it is given as a chart, and this chart is asked for practical oriented question for 5 marks in PU board examination, as well as it is given in the blueprint. So students can draw this diagram. Home assignment. Explain limitations of planning. What are the steps taken by management in the planning process? Explain. Thank you.